Just him going at me that many times just shows how much trust he has in me, shows how much, trust his offense has in me. So, it's just moving on and continue to grow. I had a lot of targets in, I think it was first week of Florida State. Last year, I had 18, so there's no biggie of me getting that many targets. I want those kind of many targets. It shows how much, my offense cares about me to give me the ball in space, let me do my, what I'm able to do. So just having that many targets just shows how much the offense, trusts me.
Weekend Warriors, that was Malik Nabers at the top. 18 targets, Matthew, 127 yards and a touchdown. He caught 10 of those 18 targets. It's not a surprise in this offense. He is going to be fed the ball nonstop.
We talked about this all through the people were like, Daniel Jones. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Volume and talent. He's going to get massive volume. He's insanely talented. Malik Nabers was a steal in drafts. He was never going as high as he should have been. This is going to be more the norm. Now, he's not always going to play my terrible Commanders, but again, he's going to be fed the ball. He's insanely talented. He was targeted on 67% of his routes. Just ridiculous video game numbers here, Connor.
Yeah, you love to see Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers in the top 3 of fantasy wide receivers in Week 2 before Monday Night Football is played. Jay, Chris Godwin caught all 8 of his targets Week 1. He gets 8 targets again, catches 7 of them, 117 yards and a touchdown. Baker Mayfield looking good.
Baker Mayfield looks great. This is the best stretch of his career, I think. And Chris Godwin, he's kind of from the Alvin Kamara school of a little bit younger than you think. He's only 28 years old, Chris Godwin, even though he's been around forever. He's had 22-plus fantasy points in both sides. He's the #1 wide receiver by PFF grade so far this season. And I think in this offense, I don't think he's going to continue to put up 20 points every week, but it's sustainable that he can be a very viable starting option week in, week out.
Definitely, especially once he moved into the slot. There's no question about it. What's also exciting, by the way, he's got two touchdowns so far and 16 targets this year. He had 2 touchdowns all of last year.
J.K. Dobbins, Matthew, on his quest for maybe comeback player of the year at this point. 17 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown. He's been the guy in this Chargers rushing attack.
Well, we knew the Chargers were going to run the ball. We knew they wanted to run it with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. We didn't know which one of those guys it was going to be, and now we know the answer. It's J.K. Dobbins, and all due respect to Gus Edwards, we like Gus Edwards. But Dobbins looks explosive. Dobbins looks like the guy that was drafted those years ago out of Ohio State. He's had at least 130 rushing yards and a touchdown in both games so far. He was basically free in drafts. Now, this is going to be a tough upcoming schedule because he's on the road at Pittsburgh, potentially with a backup quarterback. Again, we'll see the severity of Justin Herbert's injury. This will be his toughest test so far. It's one thing to beat up on the Panthers. Going on the road to Pittsburgh is another deal. But make no mistake, J.K. Dobbins is locked in as a RB2. Would love to see more passing game involvement. He's getting some, not a ton, but J.K. Dobbins, I don't want to say potential league winner, but massive value because he was basically free in drafts.
First Charger with 130-plus rushing yards in consecutive games since LaDainian Tomlinson. Pretty cool moment for J.K. Dobbins, who posted himself wearing, as a kid, an LT jersey. It's got to be amazing. J.K. Dobbins is one of the best stories through 2 weeks of the NFL. Everything he's been through, and then this was really the icing on the cake.
He really should. Someone you should think about for comeback player of the year. Instead of betting on the guys that lose like you do, you should. How about him?
Hey, Damar Hamlin's 16-1. He's charged up the ovals. Led the team in tackles on Thursday night.
You're back in.
He still has the trump card. Everyone, came back from little knee, Achilles. Well, one bloke came back from the dead. Still the trump card.
No one cared last year. I don't know why. We're still wondering. We're still trying to solve this equation.
Yeah.
Another Charger here, Jay. Quentin Johnston caught 5 of 6 for 51 yards, 2 touchdowns for QJ. The Chargers are just finding ways to get guys going that nobody else, the previous regime could not figure out.
And by the way, again, this will never happen again. Me blowing so much smoke towards Jake Crouch.
That's all right. You just brought up Hamlin, so it's fine.
No, it's good. Good point. Yeah, I brought up all the money you lost in Damar Hamlin last year. So, but we did our desperation plays. Players available more than 80% of Yahoo leagues on Sunday's fantasy football pregame. Quentin Johnston was Jay Croucher's pick.
Big
by the way,
hat on that
by the way, George Savarikas picked Wan'Dale Robinson, who also scored, by the way. Pretty good run there. Anyway, nice job on QJ.
Thank you, Matthew. I think the thing with QJ is that you still have to regress a bit to the fact that it was, 16 months ago that he was picked 21 in the draft. And I understand that it didn't work out at all last year, but he's playing 70% of the snaps. He was targeted 31%. 31% target share yesterday. There is a chance that he could be Justin Herbert's #1 wide receiver. And I get that they're not throwing much, but they've been leading all throughout these games. There are going to be games where the Chargers have to throw. Like, they're going to play the Chiefs twice in that division. So Quentin Johnston, he is still, I think, someone that you can believe in the upside. Wide receiver 11 on the week.
Josh Palmer a little bit banged up in this one, but through 2 weeks, he hasn't done much in this offense for sure.
Our last one on Weekend Warriors, Matthew, Jordan Mason, 20 carries, 100 yards, a touchdown. I mean, you said it. You just want whoever's starting at running back for the 49ers.
Yeah, over the weekend, I mean, we just got the brutal news about Chris McCaffrey. And, you know, I don't know that there's much to say about Jordan Mason other than, like, as long as he's the lead running back of the San Francisco 49ers, he's a top 10 play. He's an RB1. He is a set it and forget it. You don't worry about it as well. He's averaging 25 touches and almost 20 fantasy points per game. You see it there on your screen, the production. And by the way, he looks the part. These aren't like cheap touchdowns. He's not like, he looks the part of a bruising, true workhorse running back and a perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan's scheme. The last thing I'll just say about Chris McCaffrey, we'll talk about this more on the waiver show tomorrow, but just, again, you need to start making some, making some plans because it looks like you're going to be without CMC for at least 3 more weeks, and it might be longer as well. I would value McCaffrey as a, I'm sorry, if I had McCaffrey, I would try to trade for Jordan Mason. I would value him as a top 20 player.
Yep.
Even though it might only be 4 more weeks, but at that point your season's done.
Yep. Could be a lot long, could be longer.
Yeah, could be longer. Like I would easily trade a top 20 overall player for Jordan Mason right now.
Feels like the Shanahan family will be doing this with running backs until like the next ice age.
Yeah, right.
Going back all the way to the 90s.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.